Radio Row in Las Vegas, Nevada. Super Bowl week, baby. 49ers and Chiefs rematch. Some of the biggest names in sports and entertainment will be right here. Presented by Roan Apparel. It's the Jake Asman Show.
Here we go, live from Radio Row, and look who is joining us right now, Jet fans. One of the great Jet receivers in the history of the franchise, Mr. Santonio Holmes. Tom, what's going on?
What's up, Jake? Thanks for having me on, man. All is well.
My pleasure. So I got a chance to actually bump into you last night. We were at the same event, and I couldn't believe that I was hanging out with greatness, man. We got the Super Bowl ring on the finger, and everyone wants to talk about the Super Bowl and the Steelers with you. But I'm like, well, hold on a second. Let's not forget what this guy did with my New York Jets. So what's going on?
God, man, I still remember those days vividly, man, like they just happened yesterday. Sharing the locker room with some great guys, man. That receiver room that we had, for the Jets was spectacular. And we just felt one game short of showing the talent that we had in that room that the Jets had been building for so long. Man, yes, that was a great time, and I wish I could have got one in the Jet uniform and been able to live through that moment. But we had some great times together.
Take me back to when you were traded to the Jets, because it was a big surprise for us Jet fans when it happened that you were even available. Mike Tannenbaum makes the deal, and I remember you were suspended for the first 4 games of your first season, so we didn't get to see what you could do with the team right away. But kind of take us back to the whirlwind of emotions maybe you were experiencing going from Pittsburgh, where you won a Super Bowl, to then coming to New York playing for the Jets.
Realizing that it was a business decision that I had nothing to do with, I took it with a grain of salt over the back of my shoulder, and I realized that a new life is headed and a new leaf is being turned. And I came into a lot of green, and that was the New York Jets. And that place gave me the lifestyle that I needed to enjoy the work that I had put in. And more importantly, I got the chance to build relationships, with Mike Tannenbaum, with Woody Johnson, Coach Rex Ryan, all the players that I played with, man, it was just an unbelievable place. And I loved every moment that I got a chance to spend those 4 years, other than the fact that I couldn't wear a uniform for the rest of the season in 2012 when I got myself injured in the game against the 49ers, who happened to be playing in the Super Bowl this year. It was definitely a tough transition, but, all in all, I have a lot of great memories and, winning ball games with the Jets and just being in the locker room, with so many guys that you get to call your teammate, and to know that those moments and memories, will never die.
For you, when I think of your career with the Jets, I think the most memorable moments were the 3 games. I think they were all consecutive games in a row, whereas basically you putting the team on your back, winning games for the Jets during that incredible 2010 season. I think it all started with that incredible overtime win in Cleveland, where you had the quick slant touchdown from Sanchez. You guys won that one.
Yes.
The huge play in Detroit, another big catch to set up a game-winning field goal.
I scored on that play. I don't know what I was thinking doing that. I remember getting it Jericho. Hey, Jaco came up to me and was like, bro, you really just got ran down by a linebacker. And I'm like, oh, I think it was like my second or third game back. I was coming off, like you said, the suspension, and I was so happy to put on that Jet uniform that making the play was all I wanted to do for the team, and just to show these guys that I care about being here in this organization, that I wanted to be here, and I signed the deal back to be a Jet, for a lifetime. And I did that because of the relationships that I had built with the organization and the players and the camaraderie that we had in the locker room.
The other play during that stretch was the improbable comeback against the Texans. I mean, you were a part of some big wins that year. And then my personal favorite player of yours in New England against the Patriots in the playoffs, Sanchez to Holmes, one of the greatest catches you will see. I don't know how you got both toes in the end zone in that corner there.
It wasn't even both toes down. It was one knee.
One knee, that's right. That's right.
It was a knee and a foot.
You're right.
I remember seeing that ball released out of Sanchez's hands, and I took a quick glance at this back of the end zone like, dude, you got to take flight right now. You have to leave your feet and go get this ball, but you have to do it so late that the defender never sees the football. So when you watch that play and you see it, I was able to catch that ball over the outside of my shoulders while I was still looking at the defender, knowing that I had position because my eyes needed to be at the ground at the moment where I needed to make impact. So I was able to catch what we call late hands. and I put my hands up super late in the back of my that play, and the defender never was able to get his hands up in time, because had I put my hands up here, he's going to react a lot quicker. So I put my hands up a little bit late at the last moment and was able to snatch it and get my eyes down and see that I needed to be right in the right spot at the right time.
It was
That throw was unbelievable.
unreal.
Unbelievable.
And I want to ask you about Mark Sanchez, because I've defended him over the years, and I think his career with the Jets has aged beautifully, because this team hasn't been back to the playoffs since you and Mark were on the team. What was it, though, about playoff Mark Sanchez that was different than regular season Mark Sanchez? Because if you look at Mark in the playoffs, 4 road playoff wins, career playoff quarterback rating of like 94. He was a different dude in the postseason.
Nacho Sancho. That's what I called him. He was a great friend to me. He accepted me, the moment I came into the locker room. He wanted to establish that connection and relationship with me, and I embraced it. That going flying out to Jets West and the things that he was willing to do to make sure that his staple was there in his locker room. It definitely doesn't go unnoticed. He gets a lot of bad credit, for the things that happened around him. But at the end of the day, if you're not the quarterback, who else you gonna blame?
I know.
If you want to be the general of our organization or our team, a lot has to fall on you. And tip my hat for the way that he's been a professional and the things that he's doing, even in the media today. So he had a great career.
No doubt. And what always puzzled me as a Jet fan, and you can speak to this as a receiver, after the 2010 season, not bringing back Jericho Cotchery. Because that's where, to me, things started to go downward for the organization. And Mike Tannenbaum's a friend. He's been on the show many times. But I'll bust his chops over that, because to this day, it made no sense, and it still angers me.
Man. We let go of legend. This guy took me to church. The first moment I signed in with the Jets, he accepted me, told me I was welcome in his family every day. I believed it. I saw the work that he put in every day, the way he led us in the locker room, the way like every person believed him in our receiver room, that we were so good at working with each other that we learned a great deal from each other by learning how to go up against the great Darrelle Revis in practice every day, to where, hey, bro, you've been here 2 years before I got here, man. You're going to have to tell me how I got to get off the line against Revis right now, because what I'm doing right now, this don't seem to be working. So we built that great relationship in that locker room, and it was so sad to see him go, coming back that next year and not having your wingman with you. Man, the Flight Boys.
The best. So growing up in my room, I had a poster of you, Braylon, and Jericho with the Flight Boys in the win in New England.
I have that poster at my house, yo. I love looking at that poster and just thinking about how we lit they ass fire, yo. That was a great game. Guys are making big plays all over the place. Sanchez was so freaking pumped up, dude, that game. It was unbelievable.
And it obviously meant a lot for us as fans, because we despise Belichick, we despise Brady, and they had beaten you guys 45-3 the previous time you played them in that Monday night game. So, I mean, to this day, it's the last time the organization won a playoff game, and I can tell you the date, January 16th, 2011. I mean, it's the greatest day of my life as a Jet fan.
Yeah, the history is not on our side in our Jet uniform days, but the table is soon to turn on the other side, and someone else gets to look at us from the front, not the back, because that's all they see. That's all they remember is Joe Namath walking off the field as a champion. And now we need to be able to relive that moment. And
sure.
Thankful that we got, a guy that we really believe in. And I'm still a Jet fan. It hasn't left me in the sense that I root for those guys, and I watched them on Sunday. I'm disgusted when they don't perform well. I'm feeling still those effects of being, in that locker room and being a part of that organization, that I still root for those guys. And I say hi to all my Jet fans when I see them walk by, even if I'm wearing black and gold, even if I'm in Pittsburgh, I make it a point to even just go say hi to some people. And sometimes they recognize me, and or they don't recognize me until, the moment is going by. And they were like, wait. Dude, you're Santonio Holmes. Like, you just came up to me and said hi, and I'm wearing a Jet uniform. That to me still, resonates on how much that play like a Jet, really meant, was that these fans were really rocking with us. And to see, the Flight Boys take flight every week, and knowing that the fans were there, Tone, let me see those Jet wings. You got to love it, man.
Couple quick hitters for you. You mentioned Darrelle Revis.
Yes.
I mean, how awesome looking back on it,
Hall of Famer.
how incredible was it for you as a receiver to go up against the greatest in the game, one of the all-time greats in practice? So you got a chance to kind of get ready for games every week when you're going up against a future Hall of Famer who's now, of course, in there, and Darrell. And I had Antonio Cromartie on my show a few weeks back. He wasn't too bad either. So what was it like at practice kind of going up against those two to get you ready for a game day?
To know that guys worked on their craft so much to where they're studying their practice buddies, that's when you know you've reached a different level, because you're not just watching film to see what other players do. You're building on things that will allow you to do everything you want to based on the individuals that you go up against and you compete against every day. So being able to compete against Darrell Revis in practice and to see that his game elevated compared to the first time I stepped foot on the field against Darrell Revis, because I knew and he knew that neither one of us was going to get embarrassed in practice. That I'm not letting Tone beat me off the line of scrimmage and make no catches because I am who I am. To know that I'm not going to allow Darrell Revis to stop me from making catches, I had to go and study my game against him to watch what he did against me and other players in practice, so that I'm ready for that one moment to line up against him on practice day and figure out what the hell I'm about to do against him, because no matter who goes up, the results are basically, at 0 to none. And knowing that I had that confidence to train against guys like Cromartie and Revis, knowing that they were going to bring it every day in practice based on how they studied us and they watched film. They studied the way we moved off the line. We had conversations where we talked about how like you're coming off the ball right now, or how you're not getting this, or I'm asking questions. How did you stop me? What did you see? What was I doing wrong? Those type of relationships, on the field, being able to share those moments and critique each other, it only made us so much better. And we got a chance to witness a first ballot Hall of Famer, and that was my teammate. I got a chance to play with him, work and study craft with him. So, I tip my hat to the work that he put in, because a buddy of mine back home played with Darrell and Pitt. And while I was playing at Pittsburgh, I would always have this kid over my house. He was always telling me, Tone, we got a guy named Darrell Revis that played for Pitt. He said, Tone, I think he's a Hall of Famer.
Wow.
This was told to me while this guy was still in college.
That's crazy.
And I didn't believe it until I saw it. And when I saw
You're
it,
like, oh yeah,
he deserves everything, man. I tip my hat to all the work that he put in to work on his craft, to be who he is today, the mannerism that he carried, and the way that he's blessed. He ended up finishing his career as a Super Bowl champion. At the end of the day, to be able to have that and to walk away with a gold jacket, I tip my hat to the utmost to what, Darrell has done in his career.
Favorite Jet teammate during your time in New York?
Favorite Jet teammate? Wow. That's a tough question to go against, all of your guys that you went to war with, because
how about this?
you
I'll make it easier for you.
Moments.
Funniest teammate then. You had a lot of favorites. You don't have to pick one, but who's the guy in the locker room that was making you laugh the most?
Man, I really love Sione Puau.
Underrated Jet.
That guy was unbelievable, man. The way he carried himself, the relationships that he built with every individual in the locker room, to the way he, looked after you outside the locker room. Yeah, he was definitely one of those funny guys that, I will always remember having a relationship with.
How about your favorite Rex Ryan story?
Favorite Rex Ryan story? I get out there and go eat a fucking snack. That's it right there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Were you one of the players at that Hofstra practice that was eating the quote Rex, the fucking cheeseburgers on the field?
Hey, I'm gonna plead the fifth.
I was actually at that practice, and I remember seeing it off in the distance. I'm like, this could be on Hard Knocks, and sure enough, it led to the most famous scene maybe in the show's history.
That was crazy. That was a great time, man. Hard Knock Life. Shout out to Hard Knocks, man, for having us on. That was an unbelievable time. Just to step into that locker room and feel that relationship that Coach Ryan had with the guys, and the progress that was being made in the locker room, to earning that spotlight, to be seen that, don't just think that I'm talking this here. Like, we're actually walking this. So if you want to come and see what it looks like to be a Jet, play like a Jet, that was actually displayed, of the character that Coach Ryan wanted us to have, how we built relationships, with our guys. Our offensive linemen, man, those guys worked so hard under Coach Callahan. They had it tough, man. I mean, very tough, and they held their own. Uh, Eventually, I think Brickashaw and Mango will definitely be Hall of Famers. Uh, Getting a chance to see Nick, in college and play with him, and saw the things that he was capable of doing as freshman to starting just about every game he ever wore as a New York Jet. It's unreal to know that I played with him in college and got a chance to play with him as a pro. So I understood, the attitude that he had towards how he, carried himself onto the locker room and in our locker room. So
Answer me this question before we talk about your incredible foundation, your nonprofit. If the Jets had gotten the ball back in Pittsburgh against your old team, if Antonio Brown as a rookie doesn't pick up that first down on the 3rd and 6, you guys are going to go and win the game, right? There's just no doubt with what you and Sanchez were cooking up in the second half. I think it's one of the greatest what-ifs in Jets history because I'll go to my grave saying if the defense got off the field, you guys got the ball back, you were going down the field and scoring.
Yeah, we had a game plan, and we stuck to it. Coach said we're going to fucking run the ball down their throat. We ran the ball as much as we could down their throat. We just did not turn over the results that we were looking for.
You did more than that. You had the play action deep ball.
But that's what set up. That was the fact that we're going to freaking run the ball until you stop us, until we get tired of running. And we did that until we opened up the game and we were able to get a few points on the board and make a little run. Just unfortunately, it was too late, man. That was a very sickening feeling to know that you were centimeters to yards to seconds away from being in the Super Bowl, but doing it against your team, doing it against the team you won a Super Bowl with. Was an incredible run, being with the New York Jets. And wow, that history will, forever be there.
Tell me about your nonprofit. You and I were talking about this last time, and I said, well, Tony, you got to come on the show because my audience is incredibly generous, and they love to support.
Shout out to Jet Nation.
Former Jets and a guy like you. So tell us about it, what you're doing, because, it's an incredible cause, and I want people to get involved.
Absolutely. So 10 All In, the organization that my best friend and I started, we focus on mental health, STEM education, but we use it in a way that we take golf as our catapult. And people look at me today and wonder, why is it that I am investing my time and energy into golf? Because as an individual, you're taught to play on a team. You're taught to have that relationship with those individuals, but you begin to lose yourself when you have to do those things. But when you do it on a higher level, it's because you've actually found and discovered what yourself is capable of doing with others, which led me to being in this position to be an MVP, that I wasn't bigger than the team. I just happened to do something that was bigger than the team, which was done for us as a team. And therefore, I wanted to be in that position. But I started this nonprofit for kids to get in the game of golf so that they could realize the potential they have as individuals. The person that they create, the relationships that they build are all based on them as an individual. But they can now take that and use that in the game and life that allows you to play golf with any individual that you encounter, whether you're in the networking business, whether you're in sports, whether you're in entertainment. You can meet someone from any field and be able to build relationships with them. And that is only created on the golf course. I've heard so many times as a kid, deals are done on the golf course and major deals are done on the golf course. And this is how our kids need to see what this actually looks like. That golf is a place where you can build relationships, where you can establish friendships, but you can be competitive in a way that it still defines you. So with the skill set that you have to be a golfer, those are all the skill sets that it took me to become a professional wide receiver, because no one could teach me my craft. I had to learn how to study it. But then someone had to teach me what I was studying. And when they taught me what I was studying, that allowed me to have the insight and the confidence in myself that what I've been doing, someone has taught me how to understand it and utilize it to the best of my ability. And that's what we do with 10allin.org, is we help educate kids, and we are dedicated to changing lives.
Who knew Santonio Holmes, Pro Bowl wide receiver, Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl MVP, would have a life post-football where you're playing golf all the time, and it's for such an amazing cause. That's awesome.
Dude, I got showed the game of golf by one of the greatest wide receivers to ever play the game. And this was an invite from a charity event that I got in 2007 from Jerry Rice himself.
Wow.
Got a chance to play in a charity event with him. I hope he remembers this moment, but I wanted to talk football with him, sitting in the golf cart with him, and there were no football stories. It was all about golf. And right then and there, I had to understand what turning my relationship into establishing with someone that I admire so much, but not even having the opportunity to build what it is that I want to build with this person. But I had to embrace what that moment was. And that was just a moment that he was teaching me how to become myself, how to have confidence in myself. But more importantly, let's not do it for other people. Let's do it for yourself. And what you do for yourself is always done for other people. And that's what 10 All In is, that we're helping pave the way for more kids to be able to do it for themselves through our program.
10allin.org?
10allin.org.
10allin.org. We'll put the link in the description for this video. Tone, great to meet you last night.
Sir.
I appreciate you coming on the show. We'll do it again soon, man.
Thanks,
Jet fans love to hear from you.
Respect, man. Jet Nation. Yes, sir.
There it is.
Take flight, baby.
Take flight. Santonio Holmes has been my guest. We are presented by Road Apparel. Use promo code ASMAN at checkout for 20% off. Quick break, and we're back with more from Vegas here at Radio Row.